You're listening to Hawk Talk with former Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Play fake, going to roll right, dumps it off into the right flat to Michael Bumpus, who bounces off of one tackler, gets inside the 40 down to the 35-yard line.
Powered by Seahawks.com.
Matt pump fakes, looking to the goal line. He throws it into the end zone. Touchdown Seahawks! It's Michael Bumpus with a diving catch in the end zone. A 10-yard touchdown reception for Bumpus, and the kid out of Washington State has found himself a place on this team.
Now, here's your host, Nasser Kyobe.
Welcome into another edition of Hawk Talk. This time, the Seahawks getting ready to take on the New York Football Giants in Week 4, coming off a loss, but the Seahawks are still 3-1. Bump. The vibes are still good here.
Still
at the
good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things we've been interested to see what this team would look like after a loss. We see how they respond. Obviously, within the building, vibes are good. People turn the page. They're making it right. So I'm feeling good about this week, man.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about it, man. Detroit Lions, tip your cap, good football team. Jared Goff played out of his mind, 18 of 18. Like, come on, man. How you go 18 of 18, don't have a perfect quarterback rating? The system is broken.
I don't get it.
What's
I'm not that
on?
good at math. I was not a math major, but the math ain't mathing.
It ain't math.
But
And also, side note, do you know why they're called the New York Football Giants?
why is that?
Because at one point, there was a New York Giants baseball team.
Well, hold on. I knew that, but I thought there was a deeper story.
Nah,
than that.
it's surface level.
Okay.
It's
I was going to say,
simple.
well, I knew that, but I thought you were going to go like in depth.
Nah.
Like, no. So there's a philosopher
Nah.
who started.
No, identification, that's all. The football team.
Okay. What's on tap?
What's on tap?
Well, but these New York Football Giants, 1-3, last place in the NFC East. They lost to, well, didn't lose. They got blown out. Boat race to the Minnesota Vikings, 28-6 in Week 1. Lost 21-18 to the Washington Commanders. Beat the Cleveland Browns 21-15, and then lost 20-15 to the Dallas Cowboys. So, like I said, they got whooped in Week 1, but since then they've played 3 really close games, and it wasn't no different last Thursday night. They got to play the Dallas Cowboys. And this was a game the Cowboys really needed, Bump.
Yeah.
So they were coming off a 2-game losing streak where they got smacked by the Saints and got blown out by the Ravens, made it kind of close in the end. But that being said, this game between the Cowboys and Giants was a tight one. The Cowboys would come out on top for their 7th straight time in 14 of the last 15 in that
Goodness
rivalry.
gracious. Giants fans, they were like, oh, we got the Cowboys this week.
My
It's a wrap.
And in that game, Giants failed to get in the end zone for the 2nd straight home game this season, settling for 5 field goals against the Cowboys. Greg Joseph got those done. Daniel Jones did keep the game close. He completed 29 of 40 passes for 280 yards, finding sensational rookie Malik Neighbors, who we're going to talk a lot about today. 12 times for 12 receptions, 115 yards. And then Wan'Dale Robinson, he had 11 receptions for 71 yards. But the one thing they couldn't find was the end zone. That's been a problem at home. Jones threw an interception late, but it was kind of desperation at the end of the game. The big thing this week, Bump, is about Neighbors' health.
Yeah,
Gets a
man.
concussion in that game. He's been day-to-day. We're going to see. It feels like to me it's going to be one of those game day decisions. We're going to wait for inactives about 90 minutes before the game. So we'll keep you posted on that.
It didn't even seem that bad neither. Just on the sideline, went down. I mean, his head did hit the ground, but it wasn't like extremely violent. Concussions are tricky, man.
Football be like that, though.
It
What
does,
does Dave
man.
Wyman always say? The hardest defender's the ground, dog.
It wins every time.
Every time, undefeated. So we'll see about him. Obviously, it's a completely different game if he's playing or if he's not playing, so we'll keep an eye out on that. And what really hurt New York, Bump, is their run game. Coming into that game, Dallas could not stop a thing on the ground, but they stopped the Giants.
They did.
26 yards on 24 carries, a 1.1-yard average. Dak Prescott did his thing, and CeeDee Lamb also had a decent game, Bump. But when you look at these teams by the numbers, what do you see?
First off, let me say, if y'all need a running back, I got you. I can give you 1.1 a carry, okay?
Okay, you can fall forward.
I can do that. I can fall forward for you.
Okay.
All right, but not this week. Maybe next week. All right. Head to head, let's look at these dudes. All right, Seahawks 3-1, Giants 1-3. Now, these numbers are as real as they get now, Nas. We've been putting it off.
Yep.
It's unfortunate that the defense let Detroit drop 42 on them, so that kind of changes those numbers there. But these are real. All right, so total offense, the Hawks are ranked 5th. The Giants are 21st. It comes to running the ball, the Hawks are 20th, averaging 106 a game. The Giants are 30th, averaging 85 a game. Passing offense, best in the land, the Seahawks, averaging 280 a game.
Let's go.
Let's get it. Big ups Geno, DK, Lockett, Jay, Sin, AJ got some the other day. All right, and the Giants are 15th. When it comes to points per game, the Hawks are 9th, averaging 25, and the Giants are 29th, averaging 15. Defensively, you still still got a top 10 defense for the Hawks. They're 8th overall, Giants 12th. Against the run, they're 14th, Giants 15th. All right, there's a battle going on right there. Against the pass, the Hawks are 7th, and the Giants are 14th. And then when it comes to points allowed, the Hawks are 14th, letting offenses score 21 a game, and the Giants are 13th, allowing teams to score 21 a game. Time of possession is similar. Interceptions, Hawks got 2, Giants have 1. There are some areas where there are going to be some real battles, man. Who's going to stop the run at a higher clip, the Giants or the Seahawks?
Yeah, I mean, the Giants have a good defense. They're not tops in the league. They're not a little lacking behind the Seahawks when it comes to numbers, but they got a good defense and got some players over there that we're going to get into. Offensively, it's not great.
Nah.
I mean,
especially if Neighbors ain't in there.
If Neighbors ain't in there again, I don't want it to feel like, obviously, we're not playing in the game. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to call it a trap game because no one in this building is going to treat it that way.
Nah, we'll call it a trap game. For them, it's just, let's go get it.
On paper, if Neighbors isn't playing, this feels like a game the Seahawks should get right, as Ray always says, and a game they should handle. But that's why they play the games. They get paid too. They're a National Football League team. Records don't mean anything once they line them up on Sunday.
Exactly.
So we will see how that goes. But these teams do have a recent history. Let's know it.
Know your history.
Seahawks lead the all-time series 11-10, so it's been tight over the years. The Hawks have had a lot of success recently, winning 6 of their last 7 matchups, including the past 2 games. And you know what irks me, Bump?
What's that?
It should be 7 of 7 because the one they lost was that game during COVID 2020
Colt
at home.
Colt McCoy.
Oh, that game still haunts me because if they win that game, they would have won the division, would have had a bye, all that other stuff. But it doesn't matter because as of late, let's flash back to their last meeting. The Seahawks beat them down in the Big Apple. Seahawks beating the Giants 24-3. Seahawks were all over Daniel Jones, setting a franchise record 11 sacks.
Oh, that was sack central. I remember that vividly. Everybody got some.
I'm sure Daniel also remembers that. It also was the nation's first real look at Devin Witherspoon, and boy, did he not disappoint. He had this 97-yard interception of Daniel Jones.
So Jones from the shotgun. Breida beside him in the backfield. Single wide out left with a slot to the right side. Seattle looks like they want to rush 4. And they do. Jones is going to throw. Throws near side. Ball picked up. Witherspoon comes near side. Down the sidelines. Jones chasing him. He cuts back inside. Picks up blockers. Still being chased. Witherspoon far side. 20, 15, 10, 5. He is in. Holy catfish. Witherspoon went a mile and a half with the interception for a touchdown. Jones looks left. Witherspoon dinks him into throwing and then picks it off and goes from about the 3-yard line, the length of the field. Are you kidding me? 97 yards. Witherspoon, unbelievable.
That boy good.
That boy good. He got that speed. Like Rabel said, he kind of baited the throw, hopped on it, bam, to the house. Ain't nobody catching Spoon in open field.
Oh, not a chance. And then what I loved about that, too, was that was kind of a revenge game. I want to call it a revenge game, but former team Julian Love, first time back in New York, and he got that ceiling block on that run back. Ran all the way down there, 97 yards. So
J Love.
Good to see that. But Geno Smith in that game, he threw a 6-yard touchdown pass to DK Metcalf late in the first quarter after a strip sack by Mario Edwards. Then, Ken Walker, he did his thing. He got in the end zone just before halftime. Quandre Diggs had an interception. Jason Myers kicked a field goal. That helped Seattle improve to 6-0 at MetLife Stadium. They own that place, including winning the Super Bowl down there over the Denver Broncos 2013. And then also the cool thing about that was Saquon Barkley got held without any, real production in that game. But the thing that stood out to me, Bump, was Uchenna Nwosu. He had 2 sacks, and it showed you how good this defense can be with him in the lineup. And then 2 weeks later, Chenna gets hurt, goes to IR, and we saw what happened to that defense.
Yeah, it's a different group when Chenna ain't out there, and we still haven't seen Chenna in this defense. I heard he was moving around this week. We shall see what happens, man. But I think now this time of the year, you're slowly going to get guys back. There's been a lot of guys banged up. This is football. That happens. Right. But you get 10 back, goodness gracious.
Yes. No, that's the one thing. It's like, when you get someone back who's missed this amount of time, it's like trading for an all-pro player.
Right.
4 weeks in that already knows your system. So I'm excited to see what Chenna can do. Hopefully he comes back this week. If not, we know he's going to be ready to go when that happens. But let's check out what's going on in the NFC West. What's the word?
Where my soldiers at? West side! Where my soldiers at? West side! And the Seahawks are the NFC West champs again.
What's the word in the West on Hawk Talk?
Yeah, the Hawks took an L last week, but it's all good. Despite that L, they are still number one in the division. They're 3-1. The Niners are 2-2. The Cardinals are 1-3, and the Los Angeles Rams are 1-3 as well. Man, it wasn't the best week, but you know what? You still have the lead, so there are some positives there. Now let's go ahead and check in on the Rams and the Bears game. The Rams went on the road and dropped a tight game to Caleb Williams at the Chicago Bears. It was 24-18. The number one overall pick did not light up the world on fire, but he was efficient. He was 17 of 23 for 157 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. And the Bears he led the Bears on 4 scoring drives, improving from the 2 turnovers the week before. Caleb is going to be a whole season progression.
Right.
People thought he was going to come in hot. I tried to tell him, calm down, simmer down.
Right.
All right. There's some things that need to happen, but you see it. It's always crazy. 2 years in a row, the number 2 pick has really been the guy doing their thing, in Jaden Daniels. But no, I think Caleb's going to be fine. He's just got to kind of find his footing.
Yeah, no, Caleb Williams, the thing about him, you got to see him all the time at USC. A lot of people in the Pacific Northwest also did. He's special, and he's so great when it's off-schedule plays, and he's just a playmaker.
Yeah.
But this is the National Football League. You can't rely on your athleticism and all that. Not that he is. I'm just saying, to your point, it's going to be a progression.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a little bit of time. But in this game, the Rams tried to keep it close. But what stood out to me was the end of the game. First of all, Matthew Stafford and the Rams are doing whatever they can without Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua.
Yep. It's hard out there.
It is. Stafford did okay, 20-29, 224 yards, 0 touchdowns and interceptions. He did, however, make some history, passing Eli Manning for 10th in the NFL's all-time passing list with 57,025 yards. Complete sidebar. Is he a Hall of Famer?
I was going to ask you that. That's crazy.
Okay.
I'm looking at that because people say Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer. And the thing I support Eli because he beat Tom Brady twice.
2 rings.
You beat the GOAT twice, and you have 57,000 yards. You should be in the Hall of Fame. Matthew Stafford, people have been kind of on edge about him, I don't know if he should. Man, you got a Super Bowl championship. You are now 9th when it comes to, or 10th when it comes to all-time passing. You got to be in that thing, man. I don't know how they keep Matthew Stafford out. He better be in.
No, I tend to agree with you because it doesn't make any sense. So you have 57,000, you're, top 10, whatever it is now, all time, and then you win a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I don't know how you can't.
Super Bowl is icing on the cake, man. He had Super Bowl numbers, especially with Calvin Johnson. But you got that Super Bowl, you got that ring? Come on now. It's all good.
I think what he's going to do, especially once you get a nice round number, once you get over 60,000, you put all this together, he's probably in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's good to go.
But the Hall of Fame wasn't going to get you a win last week as the Rams go down.
Oh, dang.
Fall to 1-3.
Build them up to break them down, huh?
They're going to take on the Packers this Sunday who are dealing with their own injuries. Let's flip to the other team in the division, the Commanders taking on the Cardinals. Bump. I think for 3 years, I've been the most wishy-washy about this Cardinals team because I just don't know.
Yeah.
Kingsbury was running the show down there for a while. Things didn't go the right way. They had Hopkins. You're bringing Kyler Murray. This year, okay, after second year with Jonathan Gannon at the helm.
Yep.
And the first week, okay, you almost beat Buffalo. Okay, they might be onto something. Then they lose a good to a team in Detroit. I have no words for this. So I don't know if they're good or bad, Bump. You get boat race 41-10 at home. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. The Commanders, they went down to the desert, did their thing, 42-14. And the Cardinals, they started the game on a high note, though. Right, they went right down the field, 9 plays, 55 yards, touchdown. Marvin Harrison feed the young man. And the Commanders responded by scoring 27 unanswered. They say, calm down.
Chill.
We got this. And the Cardinals, they try to make it competitive, right? James Conner scores a touchdown late in the third, making it 27-14. But the Commanders answered back with 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns while keeping the Cardinals scoreless. Jaden Daniels. Now, I heard some outrageous takes saying that he's the best quarterback in the game. Let's calm down with that. Completion percentage is crazy right now, though, over 80%. First quarterback to ever do that in a 4-game span. His first 4 games in the NFL. I'm liking what he's doing. I'm happy for Dan Quinn as well.
Absolutely.
This dude's going to be a problem for a long time.
Yeah, Jaden, the thing about me, so when I saw him in Arizona State, I thought he was just kind of average.
Me too.
And then he left. I was like, okay, good luck in the SEC.
Yeah.
You weren't that great in the Pac-12. Now you're going to go down there. Obviously, eat my words. He wins the Heisman Trophy. Top 5
Our
pick.
evaluation was horrible on this guy.
I guess it's a good reason why I don't do this for him. But no, he's a baller. 26-30, 233 yards. You mentioned the completion percentage. He's a boss. And it's cool to see him happy for Dan Quinn because he's given that fan base potentially something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Something to strive for.
Are they the best team in that division right now?
Ooh.
Philly?
I mean,
Dallas?
today, right now, it's got to be them.
Right.
I mean, obviously, you would think Dallas, but I don't know what to make of Dallas. They're just going to do Dallas
struggle
things,
bus.
disappoint.
Mm-hmm. They'll be on TV every day, primetime, though, every week.
America's team,
Tune
they
in.
say. Anyway, Bobby Wagner, he did his thing in that game. He had 11 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 QB hit. And James Conner for the Cardinals, 104 yards, a touchdown on 18 carries. And then lastly, Marvin Harrison Jr., 5 receptions, 45 yards, and a touchdown. He's the other thing. You know he's really good. It'll be interesting to see. The Cardinals right now, they're just not consistent.
Yep.
They're up and down. You never know what team's going to show up. So we'll keep an eye on them as we go. The jury's still out. So I don't know. Clearly, I know nothing.
I almost drank all the Kool-Aid they were selling. I almost drank it, and then that's the thing about football. It'll let you know, man. It happens in increments, right? Every 4 to 3 games, you kind of figure out where a team is. I think it's safe to say that they don't have any direction right now. You got a bunch of talent, but you got to make it all come together.
Yeah, there was a spill in aisle 5 with that Kool-Aid, so we'll
spill. Dan, you hot today?
I don't know.
Let's go
off the top. No, we'll see the Cardinals. Obviously, the Seahawks play them later in the year, so we'll see how that goes. Now, Bump, here's the game I was looking forward to all last weekend. That was the Patriots in the 49ers.
Yeah.
And it happened the way I thought it was going to happen.
Yep. Niners are missing some key guys. We knew this was going to be a tough game for the Patriots, especially when it comes to that defense, man. It started slow for the Niners offensively with 2 field goals in the first quarter. Then Fred Warner, he jump-started this thing, man. 45-yard pick that extended the lead to 13-0. Did you see how gassed my man was after that?
He couldn't even celebrate.
He tried to celebrate. He gave you one little rock and then took a knee.
I've been there.
I've been there before, man. I ain't mad at you, man. The Patriots would turn the ball over on downs the following possession, and the Niners would make them pay, going 10 plays, 80 yards, ending with a George Kittle touchdown where he mossed it seemed like 3 or 4 guys at one time. It was crazy.
That boy good.
He good. That made the score 20-0.
Jacoby Brissett, man, bless his soul, Bump, because he's a tough dude.
He is.
He's a tough dude. I thought that way when we talked about him when the Seahawks played because he's just taking a beating. He was sacked 6 times. He did finish today with 19 of 32, 168 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And at some point, I don't know when the Drake May buzz. I feel like every week it's getting a little louder.
Yeah.
But you watch what's going on to Brissett, and if you're their coach, do you want Drake May out there right now?
Don't want to ruin him. What did Kevin O'Connell say about organizations? Organizations kill these young quarterbacks, man. So you have to be careful and strategic with this dude.
Yeah, so we'll see. For the 49ers, though, Brock Purdy finished today 15 of 27, 288 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And Jordan Mason, man, he's a dog.
Second leading rusher in the league.
He's a dog, 123 yards on 23 carries, 1 touchdown. I'm not saying Christian McCaffrey who, okay? I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they're back to what the Niners have been doing. Anyone back there is going to produce, it feels like. Just that system. I don't want to take anything away from the young man.
No.
I'm just saying running backs, since they've been good again, doesn't matter who's carrying the football, they're going to produce.
I've seen like 3 or 4 be able to produce in that system. I saw a stat. Derrick Henry is leading the league when it comes to rush yards.
Insane.
Mason is right behind him. And they said it's funny how Derrick Henry is reminding the league that running backs matter, and then Mason is reminding the league that they don't really matter.
Right.
I'm like, that's so real. It's
funny.
Crazy, man. It's crazy.
It is wild out there for them backs. K9, you matter. Zach Charbonnet,
You matter.
you matter. Kenny McIntosh, you matter. Just don't let anyone tell you different,
Come on,
okay?
Kenny.
All right, let's get back into this matchup with the New York Giants. Man up.
Hey, who mess is this? Who mess is this? Man up now, man up. Man up, brother. Man up, brother.
Man up on Hawk Talk.
All right, we usually start with the quarterbacks. Why switch it up now? We're looking at Daniel Jones against the Seahawks defense, man. Danny Dimes has had an up-and-down career as a starting quarterback for the New York Football Giants. I can't believe this is his 6th season. That's crazy to me. It feels like 3 or 4 or something like that, but he's been around for a while, man. He led the Giants to the playoffs in 2020 for the first time since 2016 and won a playoff game on the road, which was the first playoff win in New York since they won the Super Bowl in 2011. That year in 2022, he put up his best numbers. He was 317 of 472 for 3,205 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, but what got him the money that year was what he did on the ground. 708 yards and 7 touchdowns. That last season led the Giants to giving Jones a 4-year, $160 million contract extension in 2023. Dayball came in and said, "I got you, dog.
Come get that money,
This
baby.
is you're my quarterback. This is what I need." But then last season it didn't go well for him. He played in 6 games. He tore his ACL. But in those 6 games, he was 1 for 5. He had 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. So far in his New York career, he's never thrown more than 3,300 yards, only thrown for 20 touchdowns once, and had never made it to a Pro Bowl. So far this year, 881 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Man, quarterbacks be finessing the league. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback.
Of course not.
But it's all timing when it comes to getting paid. You have yourself a good year, new new head coach comes in, time for you to get paid. He believes in you. Boom, you're going. But that New York media is going to be tough on him, man. They're tough on every athlete over there.
He's just the same way I can't figure out what's going on with Arizona Cardinals, same way I can't really figure out Daniel Jones. Because you watch him, and it's not everything you see is bad.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to call him an underrated athlete. He's a good athlete.
He's a good athlete.
You don't rush for 700 yards at the quarterback position in this league for no reason, right? So he's a good player, and he had that great year. Almost I compare it to, not in the exact same way, so hear me out on this, but the Russell Wilson early years, where you say, hey, let me take his passing yards, let me take his rushing yards, take all the touchdowns, put them all together, and that's how we should judge him. And he did that thing. And now you win a playoff game. You go to Minnesota, you win a game. The expectations came up.
Right.
They didn't live up to him last year. So it'll be interesting. But what we do know is he's prone to turning the ball over, and that's what the Seahawks need to get back to. We're kind of slipping a little bit in the turnover differential. Seahawks had a tough week last week against the Lions, so hopefully a lot of those guys are going to be back. Seahawks 8th overall in total defense, 7th against the pass, 14th in points allowed. So this will be a big one, right? Daniel Jones on the road, hostile environment, so make him turn that thing over. Now let's flip it over to our quarterback. Geno Smith continues to his amazing start to 2024. Last week against the Lions, record-setting day, 38-56, 395, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Set career highs in completions, 38, attempts, 56, and yards, 395. Set a franchise record of 56 attempts, and his 38 completions are second in franchise history. He led the Seahawks to those 38 first downs, or the most ever.
Man.
And look at this where he ranks in the NFL. Passing yards, 1. Completion percentage, 2. Completions, 1. Attempts, 1. QBR, 9th. Season stats, he's got 1,182 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. 3 of them, really all of them aren't his fault. The last one against Detroit was a heave at the end.
Yeah.
So they got the number 1 passing offense in the NFL. When Brian Grubb got the job, everyone assumed they would be trending in this direction. But he's very clear he wants to run the ball, and they're starting to kind of figure that out. I didn't think, Bump, they'd be this successful this early on.
Nah, I mean, I felt like it would be a crescendo. It's slowly going up. But to have Geno come out and be hot like this is crazy, especially after what Ryan Grubb said, hey, we want to run the football. But Ryan Grubb says, all right, they ain't letting us run the football. So now I'm going to toss that thing across the yard. The pass is setting up the run. We've seen a couple of games where you start off passing the football, where's the run? Second half rolls around, you start handing it off, things start to happen for you. So, yeah, man, big ups to Grubb and Geno and everyone involved. They are doing their thing. All right, let's talk about Devin Singletary and the Seahawks front 7. This is the first year that the Giants have been without Saquon Barkley, and they got to play him twice. Bad move by you guys. Insert new leading running back, Devin Singletary. This is his 6th year in the NFL. He spent his first 4 years with Buffalo and 1 year with Houston. During his time in Buffalo, he has the leading rusher. He was a leading rusher every season. He was also the leading rusher in Houston that year. I've had him on my fantasy football team. He did well. While Singletary has never rushed for 1,000 yards in a season, he's been a very talented back so far in his career. In 2023, he had 898 yards and 4 touchdowns. In 2024, so far, 56 carries, 221 yards, and 2 touchdowns. In his career, Singletary has produced 4,246 rushing yards and 22 touchdowns on 930 carries. That's 4.6 per carry, and has 184 receptions for 1,222 yards and 4 touchdowns. He eclipsed 680 rushing yards in each of his first 5 seasons in the NFL, making him one of 31 backs in the NFL history to accomplish that feat. He is one of 6 running backs to rush for 800-plus yards in each of his previous 3 seasons. Singletary is one of the 5 running backs to surpass 956 yards from scrimmage in each of the last 5 seasons. We just gassed him up. This man is capable of making some plays, man. He's extremely productive.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're on a list when it says 1 of 31 to ever play this game, okay.
Yep, respect.
You got me.
Yep.
No, he's a good player, and I think it's not Obviously, Saquon Barkley did his thing in New York for a long time, but they did a good job replacing him. And Singletary is a dude that, again, is capable if you let him. So the Seahawks allowed 116 yards on the ground last week, which is the second time an opponent has gone for over 100 yards this season. The Seahawks ranked 14th against the run, 116 yards per game. The big outlier, 185 given up to the Patriots. So definitely don't want to see Singletary going off. But someone we do want to see go off, our boy, Ken Walker. He returned the lineup in a huge way last week against the Lions. 12 carries, 80 yards, 3 of them things, 3 touchdowns, 4 receptions, 36 yards. That was Walker's first ever 3-touchdown game. And the last Seahawk to have 3 rushing touchdowns in a game was Beast Mode himself, Marshawn Lynch, versus these Giants, actually, in 2014. Currently, Walker has 21 career rushing touchdowns. His next will tie Ricky Waters for 8th place in franchise history. 2 more will tie Russell Wilson for 7th place, and 3 more will tie Chris Carson for 6th place in franchise history when it comes to running. Now, this is a completely different ball club when Ken Walker's in the game.
Sure is.
And that's not a disrespect to Zach Charbonnet, but they complement each other in such a way. When he's out there, he just does different things. We talked about it last podcast.
Yep.
His little somersault thing, back, forth. I've never seen anyone break a tackle that way.
Nah, it was interesting. I saw it and didn't believe what I saw until I saw the replay, and I go, yeah, we definitely saw that. That was crazy.
Well, in Jen Mueller and John Boyle recorded their Insider podcast earlier, and they were talking about that. And Jen forgot to ask him about it post-game because a lot was going on in the locker room. But when she caught up with him, he's like, of course I knew I wasn't down. Why do you think I didn't skip a beat? And it's just like, for someone to be that in tune with their body to know what they're doing, Ken Walker, he's a special human being. This year, he's got 183 yards on 32 carries and 4 touchdowns on the season. Giants are the middle of the pack when it comes to stopping the run, ranking 15th, allowing 118 yards per game. So definitely want to see Ken Walker doing his thing this Sunday.
K9, we love it. We want more of it. Feed that man the football.
Yes, sir.
All right, now let's focus on some Giants. You got Malik Neighbors, who you mentioned, and Wan'Dale Robinson against the Seahawks secondary. Malik was drafted 6th overall in 2024. That was a big pick because everyone was asking, are you going QB? What are you going to do there? They go wide receiver to try to help Daniel Jones. He leads the NFL with 35 receptions. He's second in the NFL with 386 yards and tied for 3rd with 3 touchdowns receptions. He is the first player in NFL history to post that combination of numbers through his first 4 career games. What's up with these rookies, man? Jaden Daniels doing things ain't been done before. This guy doing things. Big ups to all those rookies out there, man. According to Elias Sports Bureau, Neighbors' 35 receptions is the second highest 4-game total to start a career in league history. Neighbors had 12 catches for 115 in the Giants' loss against Dallas last Thursday and had 10 for 127 against Washington September 15th. He's the first player with 10-plus receptions and 100-plus yards in his first 4 games in a Giants uniform. Neighbors joins Nakua last year, Puka Nakua, you remember his year, right? Last year as the only NFL player with 2 such games among their first 4 career contests. Neighbor is the third rookie with at least 10 receptions and 100 yards in a primetime game since 1970, joining Hall of Famer Jerry Rice. Goodness gracious. You already mentioned with Jerry Rice?
In 4 games? Yeah,
that's crazy, man. That's crazy. 1985, and former Giant Odell Beckham, who did his thing too. Man, Odell Beckham's career has been crazy. The start of it, he's going to be the greatest receiver of all time, man. But you know how injuries do. It happens to you. He's been targeted 52 times of the Giants' 145 total pass attempts, including one that he threw. He threw a pass. I didn't know that. What game was that? You remember that game? He threw a pass?
I should, but I do not.
Man, okay, Neighbors, versatile. So far this year, like I mentioned, 386, 3 touchdowns. This guy is a baller. Will he be available is the question.
No, yeah, I mean, they're a completely different team without him. I mean, the fact that he's 35% of their targets is wild.
That's nuts.
Games. And wasn't the old saying like, hey, receivers, it takes a while. You're learning a new offense. You're not in the spread anymore. Pro style, blah, blah, blah. It's going to take a couple years.
That's over with.
For the light to
No mas. No mas.
These boys are doing it. And Bump, shout out to Giants.com for all that information. Neighbors is on a different level right now. So that's definitely something you want to watch for in concussion protocol. Again, something we might not know until Sunday. But he's got a partner in crime also. Wan'Dale Robinson's also doing his thing. He's now in his 3rd NFL season. He's off to his best start by far. He's 5th in the NFL with 26 receptions. And also, this is the one that jumps out to me. He leads the NFL with 15 receptions on 3rd down.
Okay, clutch.
And Neighbors is second with 12. But somehow when they're at home, they can't get in the end zone.
That's interesting.
Something about between the 20s, I don't know.
Red zone. Hawks can be better in the red zone, too.
So, yeah, no, that'll definitely be something to watch. 26 receptions, 194 yards, 1 touchdown on the season. So the Seahawks for the 3rd week in a row are going to be tested outside. right? You had the Dolphins, you had Tyreek Hill, you had Waddle. Last week, you had Amon-Ra St. Brown. So they're 7th against the pass. It took a little bit of a hit last week because Jared Goff had such a good game. But this will be another one where if he is playing, you got to be on your A game. But I'm going to love to watch that matchup if Reek and Spoon and Trey Brown, all those guys cover neighbors out there.
Yeah, man. Let's get her done because we know we're talented on the back end. So let's lock these dudes up. All right, let's talk about our receivers. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and JSN. Another week, another solid performance by these wide receivers. DK against Detroit, 7 receptions for 104. He became the first player in Seahawk history to have 3 consecutive 100-yard games. Well done, DK. Well done. But this is what he does. It's his 15th 100-yard game in his career. DK's 366 receiving yards are 3rd best in the NFL. His 24 receptions are 8th best in the NFL. He has 45 receiving touchdowns since 2019, which makes him tied for 4th in the NFL. Goodness gracious, DK. Don't forget his homies. You got JSN, who has 25 receptions for 226. You got Tyler Lockett, 18 receptions for 199. This is why this group is ranked number 1 when it comes to passing game in the league. And don't forget Geno, of course, he's throwing him the football. But you need receivers to catch that thing, man. These guys are doing exactly that.
Yeah, and the Giants, they're about middle of the pack when it comes to stopping the pass, allowing 193 yards per game. They've been doing their thing, and at this point, I feel like I just expect DK to get 100 yards every week.
Hundo.
So 1,700 on the season.
Let's get it.
We'll be good to go.
Yep.
Appreciate you. All pro, first team, all that thing. Flipping it over, the last match I want to look at is the Giants. They got pass rushers, Bump.
They do, man.
They got pass rushers, and it's funny because they didn't. Also, before I even get into their pass rushers, this is that unit without Leonard Williams.
Yeah. Imagine if Leonard was in that thing.
Dang. So we got Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence. So the crazy thing is they didn't have a lot of sacks last year, and which is wild because Kayvon Thibodeau had 11.5 sacks, 12 TFLs, and 16 QB hits. They were 29th in sacks last year.
Crazy.
But that doesn't take anything away from this unit of guys. Thibodeau, you guys remember out here in the Pacific Northwest, went to Oregon, was a standout there, really came into his own in his second season, former
went
5th
to high
overall
school
pick.
with Charbonnet, I believe. They both went to Oaks Christian.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Man.
So you got that first-round pick. Then you got Brian Burns, who's also a former first-round pick in 2019. They got him from the Panthers, and he's a pass rush specialist for sure. 2-time Pro Bowler, 47 career sacks in 6 seasons. Then you got the OG, Dexter Lawrence. Yet another former first-round pick for the Giants having that front 7. He's coming off back-to-back Pro Bowls. Last year, he had 53 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 21 QB hits from the interior.
Yeah.
So he's bringing it there. This year, he's got 12 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 TFLs, 6 QB hits. He's their leading sacker on the season for the Giants. But this Seahawks offensive line, they're battle-tested, right? At least last week, they got their biggest test. Aiden Hutchinson, the NFL league leader in sacks. He did not register a stat last game.
Nope, but affected that game.
I was gonna say, doesn't mean he didn't affect the game, but it was a good test. And right, Stone Forsythe was out there. He did his thing as much as he could. So this offensive unit's been tested. Detroit's a good defense. They're gonna get tested again. So I'm excited to see what they can do. The Hawks have allowed 11 sacks this season, which is 12th most in the NFL. A number they want to stay there and not go up. So they're gonna get another test on Sunday. But Bump, man, let us know how the Seahawks are going to get back on track, path to victory.
At the 45, waits for the snap. Michael Dixon puts it down. That kick is away, and that kick is good! The Seahawks win! It's good!
It's a path to victory on Hawk Talk.
Like you said, man, you got to get back on track. You suffer your first loss of the season. You want to see how people respond. What's the vibe like? It feels positive in this building right now. I don't feel like these guys are doubting themselves, man. But you got to start by getting after this Giants offense. They got some talented players. We'll see if, Neighbors is there, but they are not the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions had talent everywhere, 2 running backs, tight end, couple receivers. They got to put pressure on this quarterback early and often, man. He likes to turn the ball over, make him do exactly that, make the Giants one-dimensional. If you can stop the run and say, look, man, Daniels, go ahead and win this game, I like it. Or even if, man, you know what, flip it. If he can dink and dunk a little bit,
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's whatever is required to win this game, you do it, make them one-dimensional. I like that train of thought.
No question about it. I mean, like we said, if Neighbors is active, he just can't go off, right?
Yep.
He is still a rookie. Show him some stuff he hasn't seen before defensively, some different looks. We have a great secondary, so definitely be watching those matchups. And offensively, Ryan and Grubb, Geno Smith, keep doing your thing, man.
Hey, keep doing it. Keep dancing. They grooving right now.
Oh, come on now, get it. But this is the most confident I have been in the Seahawks offense in a long time. And some might
and
say
it's not even the most explosive offense either.
it isn't, and some might say that's recency bias because, like, even at the beginning of 2020, that offense was going off.
Yep.
Brian Schottenheimer was in his bag. A lot of people feel a certain type of way, but Darrell Bevell led a very explosive offense when the Seahawks won a Super Bowl and got back-to-back Super Bowls,
Facts.
right? But just right now, I'm just confident in the way that they're going about it. Ryan Grubb's confidence, how he calls his games, the Seahawks, different ways to win and to beat you and to adjust when you're not playing well or one thing isn't working. So I have all the confidence in the world, and they're showing it. And I got that last week when they went toe-to-toe with a really good team. In my opinion, I think they should have won that game. A lot of other factors going on, but it definitely wasn't because of the offense. So keep doing your thing. And then, Bump, for me, keep Geno clean, man. He was under a lot of pressure last week. He didn't get sacked a million times, but if you keep him clean and let him work in the pocket, get to the line of scrimmage, 15 seconds on play clock, do his thing, a lot of good things happen for this offense.
Yep, and let's give DK the ball. Let's get 4 100-yard games in a row.
Is that working?
It's working.
Okay.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Give Ken Walker that rock. Sprinkle in some JSN and some Lockett. AJ Barner has arrived. Give him the football as well, man. Protect home field, and let's go 4-1.
Absolutely. 4-1. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. The Seahawks need to take care of business, but we know it's another short week with the big bad 49ers looming 4 days after this game. So Seahawks need to take care of business at home. That's going to do it for us. Reminder, you can catch us everywhere. Seahawks.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Sirius XM, and more. He's Michael Bumpus. I'm Nasser Kyobe. This has been another edition of Hawk Talk. Hopefully we'll be talking to you on Monday about a Seahawks victory.